Good evening and welcome to Have I Got News For You. I'm Alexander Armstrong. In the news this week. In Islington, after a summer of negative headlines about anti-Semitism, Jeremy Corbyn finally gives the Jewish Chronicle an in-depth interview.
Good morning, nice to see you. Goodbye.
A BBC journalist reacts to the news that male presenters are still paid far more than their female counterparts. And the Kennel Club admits that it has raised the qualification standards for this year's Crufts. On Ian's team tonight is a political journalist who, on her breakfast show, greets viewers as they wake up in the morning. Unlike me on Pointless, who greets viewers as they wake up in the afternoon. Please welcome Naga Munchetty. And with Paul tonight is a comedian who went to a small rural school in the heart of Devon, where he learnt the 3 R's. Arr. Please welcome Josh Widdicombe. And we start with the biggest stories of the week. Ian and Naga, take a look at this.
Oh, it's the Prime Minister, or it was when we went out. There she is. Oh!
Not such fancy footwork there. Where are the fields of wheat?
It's the world's most famous misprint. That was the Tory conference.
Mm-hmm.
It was.
Which was big news, because Mrs May made a speech and it wasn't terrible. Which is absolutely riveting.
But she stole the show elsewhere, didn't she, obviously, with the dancing?
You like the dancing?
I loved the dancing.
But...
I'm not a great one to judge, I'll put that out there straight away.
Well, I was going to say, you've been on Strictly.
Exactly, I'm not a great one to judge.
Well, you lasted 4 weeks.
Just.
Well, that may be what she's going for.
Have I missed the news that Theresa May is on Strictly?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, she danced onto the podium.
It's a dancing queen.
Shall we just...
Oh, yes, please.
I think we need a look. It's Mama May.
I didn't think it was possible to walk out of step. I've seen that before.
It's an astonishing move she's got.
Yeah.
She's
Like she's moving a fridge, isn't it? Do you know what? She didn't think the music was going to go on as long as it did. She did it twice and she thought, I've nailed this. And then she was like, they were meant to have turned it off by now. I'm going to have to go again.
What did May pledge to end?
That dance. Oh, austerity's over.
The end of austerity.
Yes.
Indeed.
Well, I'm glad they told us.
Very arbitrary,
Because
isn't it?
otherwise you'd have to guess, and looking around, it's quite hard to spot. Biggest national debt ever in history. It's over. So forget about it, doesn't matter. It's gone. And that last 10 years, I hope you're happy. Because it was all worth it, 'cause it's over.
She said the British people need to know that the end is in sight. I mean, blimey, it can't be that bad. Theresa May reassured the people Britain's best days lie ahead. What, when Corbyn gets in? Speaking of Jeremy Corbyn, how did his dancing at the Labour Party conference measure up?
Oh, I imagine it was better.
Well, after his speech, all the Tory press went into complete panic, because it wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
And they had no idea how to react. Oh, no, you're meant to be useless.
Let's have a look. Here's him dancing.
Everybody was out apart from him. That made it.
Theresa May wasn't the only politician to try and inject a bit of humour into her speech at the conference. Did anyone see Sajid Javid's zinger?
I always like these, but I didn't see it. Is it up to the usual
It
standard?
is good. Have a look at this. Kapow.
I know the question that's on your mind. So let's just deal with it now, up front. Yes, I did watch The Bodyguard. No, it wasn't very realistic. For a start, my code name is not Lavender. And she didn't even do the power stance.
That was 4 bad ones in a row.
Yeah.
Oh, that could kill most careers in comedy.
You see the sign there? Well, the last year, all the letters fell off. And when I'm reading it, I keep seeing pity. Did the bodyguard end up dead?
I haven't seen it.
Oh,
Oh, sorry, we're not allowed to say.
It's still too soon to
Right,
put out spoilers.
Right. What about Noddy and Big Ears? Does the car crash horribly?
Everyone's fine, though.
Is everyone OK?
Yeah, I think so.
Phew.
Boris Johnson tried to upstage the Prime Minister. How did he go about that?
Well, he had his own side show, didn't he?
He did,
With
the day
lots and
before.
lots of queues.
Yes. How many people were there?
There were 1,000.
1,400.
1,400?
In some places, they
that
said-
many people
Yeah,
turn up?
Absolutely right.
Well, that's not going to get him in.
No. The Guardian reported that in order to see Boris's speech, delegates queued for up to 4 hours.
Unbelievable. Well, that's the level of support he's got. I don't want to be disrespectful to Boris's speech, but I think perhaps he should see a therapist, because throughout you just kept hearing these words like betrayal, trust, loyalty, cheat. Cheat! 4 weeks ago he got thrown out the house and the locks changed.
Boris... What is Boris trying to do here, do we think?
dispose of a body?
Well, he was running, wasn't he?
Yeah, but we don't know away from who.
Why do we always see him jogging in shorts? He can't remember where he left his trousers. Why hasn't he lost any weight?
Why hasn't he lost any weight? He's always jogging or on a bike.
Is he trying to do a parody? I think he's...
I think he is.
I think he is, yes. Theresa May said, isn't it, the only naughty thing she could think that she'd done was sneak into a field of wheat.
Run
she was
through.
young. Run through, yes, with gay abandon. And he's impersonating that.
Yes.
So does she have to do the naughty things that he's done? Bad news for Philip May.
Who else made Theresa cross this week?
Paul Pogba.
On air, live on air.
Andrew Marr?
Andrew Marr, exactly. BBC's Andrew Marr.
Yeah, he kept asking questions.
Yes.
What a nerve. I hope you don't.
He
Would
grilled
never.
her. He grilled her on all kinds of issues, then cut her off at the end of the programme, which didn't go down particularly well with Theresa May. Let's have a look at this.
Now,
And they may have to make a lot
We
more
are-
if we go for no deal, but I'm
Yeah,
afraid
we-
we're out of time, Prime Minister. Goodbye and thank you.
It looked like someone had turned her off.
I think they have.
Back to Boris. Did you hear his speech? God, it was bad. He at one point said there's a 14th century law and that the government should be prosecuted under praemunire. And everyone went, oh, marvellous, Boris. It's not true. It was repealed in 1967. It's just another lie. The only good thing about this one is you didn't put it on a bus. One of Boris's main points was that he's very worried about housing. Which you would be, wouldn't you? The big problem for middle-aged men in London who need somewhere to live.
He had a handy suggestion for the Irish border problem. He said, what we need to do is build a bridge between our islands. Why don't we? Why don't we?
Well, he keeps suggesting bridges.
Yes, he loves bridges.
There was the Garden Bridge in London.
Yes.
That didn't happen.
Yes.
There was a bridge across the Channel. That didn't happen. Bridge across the River Kwai. I know, that wasn't one of it. And now he wants a bridge to Ireland.
Yeah.
It will be one over troubled water, though, won't it?
Oh, yes.
There we are.
Which Boris can then burn down.
Yes, as you say, he's previously called for a 22-mile bridge across the Channel to enhance transport links with France after Brexit. And in March, he claimed he couldn't quite recall why he signed off £40 million of public money on the abandoned Garden Bridge. How did the bridge proposals go down with other members of the Tory party?
Did they tell him that there's a tunnel?
Rich Anton.
An underground bridge in many ways.
Sajid Javid tweeted, "Flight from Birmingham to Belfast delayed. Wish there was a bridge. Wait." Boris isn't the only person upset with how Brexit is being handled by the government. Have a look at this woman marching against Brexit on the Channel 4 News.
Why are you here?
I don't trust the politicians. They're full of egos. They're just rubbish, basically.
What are you?
Can't stand the uncertainty and the chaos. It's absolutely appalling.
Well, she's got no problem with her ego, has she? That's a nice beret. Wasn't she in a lower low?
One person who has ruled themselves out of a leadership bid this week is Scottish Conservative leader Ruth Davidson. Theresa May gave her something this week. Did you see that?
Chinese burn.
She gave her some baby toys.
Oh, right, lovely.
She gave her a baby grow with the number 10 on it. And she gave her favourite kids' book, which is Swallows and Amazons,
Yeah.
which is nice. The book features squabbling children, a fight over who gets to be leader, and someone called Titty. I think we know who that is. In other policy news, though,
Yeah,
what
policy
did
news.
Theresa May announce this week to help the UK celebrate and revel in a post-Brexit world?
We're going to have a festival.
Wonderful.
yes.
Yes.
Festival of Brexit.
Yes.
That's it, yes.
Like the Festival of Britain.
That's right. She's announced plans to put £120 million aside to showcase the best the country has to offer in business, technology, arts and sport. It's going to be called The Festival. Look at that, already showcasing the talent we have.
But what's it celebrating?
The talent we have.
Our ability to put on a festival. Coloured tents with stripes all down the side. Lovely.
And ABBA.
ABBA.
Just going to point out that ABBA aren't the best that we have to offer.
Doesn't matter.
Can we just bring in things from Europe? This is what we're missing.
And well, let's not forget the Lib Dems and Vince.
You have?
No, we remember them in the nick of time.
Yes.
Vince Cable. What was his major triumph at the Lib Dem conference?
Still alive.
Is that the party or just him?
He's going to outlive the party.
He had a joke, and it was leaked to the press.
Yes.
So we knew what the joke was, and this is what they do now. They say the leader will say. So then you wait for it, and then they mess it up.
He got his spin doctors to
Yeah.
prepare the nation for the great put-down he was going to deliver
Yeah.
to hard Brexiteers. When he came to it, he couldn't quite sell the phrase erotic spasm. Erotic spasm. Here's what he said.
For the true believers, the fundamentalists, the costs of Brexit have always been irrelevant. Years of economic pain justified by the exotic spasm.
Do they get any warning of what they're about to say?
Yes, well, this is Theresa May's third Tory conference as Prime Minister. Take that, Paddy Power. After Theresa May danced her way onto the stage, the Daily Mail reported, for once she had the audience laughing with her, not at her. Actually, it was mainly nervous laughter because most of the people were worried that their rectums would never unclench. According to the Daily Mirror, Plymouth University Conservatives caused outrage by going out to a bar with one of them sporting a Hitler moustache and wearing anti-Semitic messages on a T-shirt. They've now been suspended by the Conservative Party and warmly welcomed by the Labour Party. Former head of the CBI, Digby Jones, attacked Boris Johnson for recently making the remark, fuck business. And, of course, fuck business is normally what Boris has scheduled in from 3 to... Paul and Josh, take a look at this.
Salisbury, lovely place to visit.
123 metres, that spire.
The Russians there, and there's Putin, of course, knows nothing about it at all.
But what if they are just two guys who had a shit holiday?
He'd be on TripAdvisor, wouldn't he? Now, let me get this right. The guy that they poisoned was a guy called Schiphol.
Yep.
And the airport that they travelled to in Amsterdam is called Schiphol. So is this indicating that the Russians are out to get people who have names that sound like airports? Like it should Stansted be worried.
Awful news for JFK.
JFK or Luton. Or G.A. Twick. That's Gatwick, by the way. G.A. Twick. Heathrow.
Yes.
Are we going to go through them all?
If it was a bloke called Heathrow and he went to Russia, it could be Terminal 4 Heathrow. Do you know what I mean?
What is the latest on Sergei Skripal?
Putin described him as a scumbag.
That's right.
yeah.
They don't really care about getting caught, though, do they?
No. Putin's kind of just admitted it now.
And it doesn't matter how bad the excuse is.
No.
I mean, two middle-aged men with cropped hair, very thick set, saying, we're great admirers of the cathedral city of Salisbury. You think, no, you're not really.
Well, didn't they go one day and then they said they had to leave because it was a bit too cold for them?
Yeah, there was a lot of slush, which they weren't used to in Russia.
No.
Yeah.
After the poisoning, the Russian ambassador was asked about diplomatic relations between Britain and Russia, and he said, they've become rather poisonous. I mean, he's auditioning for a Bond film now.
Why didn't they just shoot him in the head?
Sorry, what?
You know, I mean...
I didn't expect
If it
that
was-
from the host of Pointless.
Why did they go to all these lengths? I mean, if they really don't care what we think.
I think it's
That's a good
fiercer.
point.
It's more exciting, isn't it?
I suppose, yeah. How do Russian security services contemptuously refer to the two spies?
The two spies
The two spies, the would-be
Skripals,
assassins.
the
yeah.
would-be assassins.
Soon to be dead.
According to the Times, they're known as Dolce & Gabbana in Russian spy circles because of the suggestion by a TV interviewer that they appeared to be two gay men on holiday. The editor of Russia Today, Margarita Samonyan, who interviewed them, tweeted after the interview, I don't know if they're gay or not gay. They're so stylish with their beards and haircuts and tight pants. They didn't come on to me. Definitely gay then, Margarita. What else is likely to emerge this week?
The sun. I mean, what else is likely to emerge?
We are likely to discover the identity of the second Russian assassin.
Oh, are we?
Oh.
Yeah. And how do we know this?
A website called Bellingcat.
That is exactly right. How did Elliot Higgins, who's the founder of Bellingcat, how did he identify Colonel Chapiga? That's the first.
You met him in a gay club in Salisbury.
He found an old photo of him in a graduation.
That's exactly right, yeah. He found the spy's Secret Service record on public websites. He said, I've looked at a lot of ears in photographs and I've never seen anything so distinctive. Really? Elliot Higgins is pretty cool for somebody who has probably severely narked the Russians. He told The Observer that the Russians are pretty incompetent. If a black van pulls up and 4 Russian guys leap out, there's not a lot I'm going to be able to do, so I try not to worry about it too much. The good news for Elliot is former Russian FSB colonel has admitted that his security services aren't up to scratch. We do have a problem with the professionalism of our intelligence recruits, so if there are any Russian hitmen watching, Elliot, we can reveal, looks like this.
Do you want to leave that photo up just a little bit longer in case anyone missed it?
OK, staying with Russia, Vladimir Putin's got a new calendar out. We'd like to see some of the photos from that.
Yes, please.
Well, here's the standard macho pose on the cover. There we go. Here's a rather coy one for February. And resist this one if you can.
Wow, that dog has been killed since it licked his ear.
How is the leader of the other great superpower shaping up this week? What did Donald Trump say was one of the best things about him?
Well, he doesn't drink beer, and his father didn't pay any taxes at any point. So his myth of being a self-made American millionaire is not true, which is extraordinary. I'm suggesting the President of the US is lying. But he does appear to have made it all up from almost birth.
Let's have a look.
I'm just saying, I'm not a drinker. I can honestly say I never had a beer in my life, okay?
Right.
It's one of my only good traits. I don't drink. Whenever they're looking for something good, I say, I never had a glass of alcohol. I've never had alcohol. I've just, for whatever reason. Can you imagine if I had, what a mess I'd be?
That's the best advert for drinking I've ever seen. I think they should play that all the time.
Brett Kavanaugh, meanwhile, had this to say this week.
Drinking beer, which I gladly do and which I fully embrace. I liked beer. I still like beer.
There we are.
Well, there's the other side, then. The Republicans want him to be in the Supreme Court. But I think Trump has decided that he should be the judge because he now addresses rallies and decides on people's innocence. And he had a rally and said that the woman who gave evidence against him, I mean, there's an investigation, they had a hearing, but Trump's decided that he knows. So he took the piss out of her at a rally, saying she's lying. And given that he's usually lying, that's a sort of odd double negative. So you start thinking, well, maybe she isn't, even if you thought she was. Anyway, we'll know soon, because the FBI will tell us.
So, yes, this is the continuing fallout from the Salisbury poisoning. The so-called assassins claim they were innocent tourists fulfilling a lifelong dream to visit Salisbury Cathedral, presumably inspired by that traditional children's rhyme, here's the church, here's the steeple, don't touch that door, it's Mr. Screeple. Talking of dangerous knobs, according to The Times, US Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh has faced snowballing allegations. Complaining about the accusations against Kavanaugh, Donald Trump said it's a very scary time for young men in America when you can be guilty of something you may not be guilty of. You don't say, said 40 million black Americans. So at the end of that round, it is 2 points each. Very well done.
Solid start. Yeah, very good. Can I grab some more? There isn't any.
And so to round 2 and the picture spin quiz. So fingers on buzzers, teams. Paul and Josh.
They've identified the 2 Russian... No, this is this morning, which is 30 years old this week.
And how have they been celebrating?
They've brought back the weather map.
Oh, yes, the weather map,
Yes.
And someone got knocked into the water from the weather map.
Absolutely right.
This is because the bridge hadn't been built.
Yes. Alison Hammond caused a bit of a splash. Let's have a look at Alison Hammond.
It's going to be patchy rain over there. Get ready, guy. All right, go. Oh my gosh, are you all right? Oh my God! Oh my God, you all right? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
I'm disappointed that I've seen this because I'm watching This Morning on Netflix. I've only got up to February the 4th, 1995 so far. So it's a bit of a spoiler for me.
Absolutely spoilt that, hasn't it?
Yeah, ruined it.
Who kicked off their 90-minute festival of backslapping?
Elton John.
Barry Manilow.
Theresa May.
Theresa May.
Did she?
Yeah, she did. Yeah, she has loads of time on her hands. Let's have a look at this.
Hello.
Hello, Philip.
Prime Minister. I don't think I can make it.
Goodness me. Not on this morning's 30th birthday. That's impossible. You absolutely have to be there. I know just the people who can help you. Now, can you see a sign to the Red Devils?
Yes, I can.
Good. Then head there. And remember, Philip, the nation's going to be watching.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Prime Minister.
Good luck.
Why is she lying on camera? The nation's going to be watching. No, they're not. It was ITV.
Which former This Morning guest was less enthusiastic about the show?
Guest.
A guest. This could take a long... Simon Cowell. It was Simon Cowell.
Right.
He was interviewed and he said, I didn't like doing it at all. I've deleted it from my memory. And I go, what?
How did he know that he didn't like doing it?
Good question. What is it, though, about This Morning? What is it sort of...
I think they just hit all the topics that people are talking about the next day, and they do it in a very accessible way. You're not going to see me slag off This Morning.
Sure?
No.
Well, having said you'd like to see Piers Morgan shot.
He's on Good Morning Britain.
Anyway, celebrations aside, why was it a sad week for ITV this week?
Oh, dear.
Oh.
It's died. I don't know. What's happened to ITV? Is it one of its channels gone?
No, but somebody did die.
Oh, oh, no, Jeffrey Hayes from Rainbow.
Yeah. Oh, that's a very good Zippy impression.
Yes.
No, that was... Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Anyway,
going
back to breakfast shows. Yes, go on.
My girlfriend's mum worked in TV and she invented Zippy. So, I'm not going to lie to you. The fact my girlfriend's decided to go out with someone with this voice She needs to see a counsellor about it.
Anyway, this is the 30th anniversary of ITV's This Morning. The secret of This Morning's success is that it appeals to people who just can't handle the gritty, hard-hitting journalism of The One Show. This morning's most notorious moment came when Philip Schofield let slip the name of a paedophile live on air, when he said, "And now over to Fred for the weather." Fingers on buzzers, teens. Ah, yes, Paul and Josh.
This is the beluga whale that's somewhere near Gravesend, making his way up the Thames perhaps. It's still out there. Seems to be feeding all right. People are staying away from it because it's not really his normal habitat. He's more of a dagenham whale.
Where's it supposed to be?
The Antarctic.
Arctic?
The same place.
Thousands of miles away in the Arctic. Yeah, conservation expert.
That's where Shackleton went wrong.
That's where he went wrong. He went wrong.
But he's on his way because some of his friends have said that Salisbury's lovely. So
Yeah. He's got a cathedral.
Yeah.
Conservation expert Julia Cable said it's possible that it lost its way and has taken a wrong turn.
No shit.
How are they going to get him out there?
He's fine. Conservationists, they just let him be and let nature take its course.
There's no plan B. It's very familiar. Sort of British policy now. Yeah, we got a whale up the Thames, so what? See what happens.
Is he a skilled whale? Because then he'll be allowed to stay.
Can he pick fruit?
Sticking with polar creatures, how are Telford Zoo dealing with a shortage of penguins?
Oh, they've all dressed up as penguins.
No, they've replaced them
Plastic penguins.
with models, exactly. There we go. Plastic penguins there.
Is this to encourage them to mate?
How can you mate with a stone penguin?
Well, I'm thinking off the top of my head, maybe it's encouraging...
From a model shop in Devon.
That's a bit of a rip-off. You can't. You go to a zoo and everything's plastic.
Well, I know, but this is particularly embarrassing for Telford Zoo because they've just spent 60,000 quid on their new penguin enclosure.
What?
Yeah.
What's happened to their penguins?
Well, apparently, according to the zoo owner, penguins only mate once a year, so unless we put models in, we've got to sit back and let nature take its course.
But there's no penguins there to mate in the first place.
No. How has the BBC managed to save roughly £1 million a year this week?
Oh, no, bad news, Nagger.
I'll tell you right now, it wasn't me.
Is that on Chris Evans' salary?
It is exactly on Chris Evans'. They're replacing
Fabulous
Chris
Zoe Ball.
Evans with fabulous Zoe Ball. She's going to be the new host of the BBC Radio 2 breakfast show. This is how the BBC News broke the story. This is the news that a beluga whale has set up home in the River Thames. According to the Daily Mail, Benny's gender is not known. I'm no marine biologist, but surely you can see the cock on a whale, can't you? According to The Guardian, within 2 hours of the animal being spotted, it was being chased by TV helicopter crews overhead. And the whale was asking for the number of Cliff Richard's lawyer. That is on buzzers, teams.
This is a physicist at CERN who said that the history of physics was largely created by men. He implied that women weren't very good at physics, but nowadays there were so many women getting jobs in physics that men couldn't get a job. I didn't really follow his argument.
Do you remember what his name was, the professor?
Idiot.
His name is Professor Alessandro Strumier from the CERN laboratory project. That's part of the Large Hadron Collider, isn't it? And, yes, he's upset female scientists and womankind. One of his claims is that Oxford University has lengthened its science exams by 15 minutes specifically to help women. Why is this so shocking?
Because it's not true?
No, because it is true. Oh. According to The Telegraph, students taking maths and computer science examinations in the summer of 2017 were given an extra 15 minutes to complete their papers after Dons ruled that female candidates might be more likely to be adversely affected by time pressure.
Have we got much longer? I'm feeling a bit faint.
I'm going up to get more paper.
In other academic news, what are the Students' Union at Manchester University trying to eradicate?
Clapping.
Yes.
Applause.
That's right. Yes, according to the Telegraph, the Manchester Students' Union access officer has argued that traditional applause at large gatherings is not sufficiently accessible.
I've been doing that at my gigs for years.
Yeah. Show your appreciation by standing up and walking out.
They're going to replace clapping with the more acceptable jazz hands.
Yeah, you wait for next year's Tory conference.
This is the Italian scientist who told a group of female physicists that physics was invented by men. Professor Anne Christine Davis, a physicist at Cambridge University, said, "I just don't know what planet he lives on." I'm afraid you've rather played right into his hands. Which means at the end of this round, it is 3 points to Ian and Naga, and Paul and Josh are on 4.
Outrageous.
So time now for the odd one out round. It's just one between you this week. Your 4 are Dominic Raab, Sir Walter Raleigh, Weight Watchers, and Kanye West.
Kanye West has changed his name to Yee.
Yes.
Y-E-E.
Yes.
Weight Watchers, I think they've lost the weight, haven't they? No pun intended. Haven't they taken the weight out of their name, just called themselves Watchers now? So that must be the root of the odd one outness.
Yeah.
So it's between Walter Raleigh and Dominic Raab. Is that his name?
Raab seems like it might be a different name that's become Raab. No.
Well, Kanye has
gone to shorten names.
And Raleigh lengthened his name, because it was Raleigh and then Raleigh, or Raleigh as we pronounce it.
Sir. He added the Sir.
Yeah.
And then he invented...
just after...
He wasn't born Sir Walter Raleigh.
No,
You're right.
He made
was
it
a
longer. No, he would occasionally go by Water sometimes. He would drop the L.
Really? Water?
Water.
So 3 of them have shortened their names, so Dominic Raab has lengthened his name.
Yeah, how has he linked?
He's added an A.
Well, you're getting
originally
there.
Rab. And now he's Raab, and soon he's going to be a Raab.
Well, actually, they have all made their names shorter, except Raab, who had his name made longer by his staff. According to the London Review of Books, Raab's team would add extra A's in the middle of his surname to see how many they could get away with.
I was right.
Do you know what the record was?
48,000.
5.
5?
So his name read Dominic Raab. So, sticking with politics for a moment, why has this election candidate gone viral this week? I'll give you a clue again. It is to do with his name. Let's have a look.
He's called Luke, but his team call him Luke.
He's got a French name which sounds funny in English.
Yes.
Who's
this is Belgian council election candidate Luc Arnous, who's been banned from Facebook because his name was deemed inappropriate. So, what's he changed his name to in response?
Bottom hole.
No, he's changed his name to Luc Arnoux. What is Mr. Arnous's problem known as amongst IT professionals? So,
hemorrhoids?
Yeah. This is known as the Scunthorpe problem.
Oh, yes.
For obvious reasons that I think the BBC prefer me not to spell out. Kanye West, you're absolutely right, has shortened his name this week. He wants to be known hereafter as Ye.
Ye. Is it Ye? Oh, it's pronounced Ye, is it? OK.
I read his explanation of this, and it's because he doesn't want the attention to be on him. It's the old-fashioned Ye, because it's really about other people, his career.
Oh, that is nice.
And not about himself. And I was very moved.
I was just thinking, you're going to have to... It's a real bore for you. You're going to have to move all your Kanye CDs so that put them in between Yeats, the spoken word, and
Yes.
How have Weight Watchers shortened their name?
WW.
They've gone to WW.
Yes.
And it's about wellness now.
Yes, about well-being.
It's not about being fat or thin.
No.
It's about being well in a
being
kind
well.
of thin way.
Yeah.
I'm just saying... I mean, you don't go along and they just don't mention it.
No.
Would you like to get on the scales and see how well you are?
They've all made their names shorter, except for Dominic Raab, who's had his name made longer by his staff. Referring to the ongoing negotiations with Brussels, Brexit Minister Dominic Raab warned conference delegates, "We're being sucked into an indefinite limbo," which is, of course, where Jacob Rees-Mogg believes all unbaptised children end up. The government can't find enough people to work in their Brexit department. According to a report last month in the Mirror, staff turnover is apparently higher than Premier League football managers. Why don't they just get some foreigners in? Time now for the Missing Words round, which this week features as its guest publication The Organ. Doesn't print many copies, but has a huge circulation. That's because after they've read it, most people donate their organ to someone else. And we start with Winston Churchill would spend £80 a year on what?
Was it broadband contract he really needs to cancel?
Cigars.
Ubers.
Boiler suits.
T-shirts.
Women's underwear.
Ties.
Nazi memorabilia.
Shoes. Women's underwear. Silk
Just in
knickers.
case.
Silk
Yes,
pants.
that's
Silk
the war.
pants.
Absolutely.
Silk pants?
Winston Churchill would spend £80 a year on silk underwear.
I never knew that.
Winston Churchill gained access to all the silk underwear he needed when, in 1942, codebreakers at Bletchley Park cracked Victoria's secret. Next, a very warm what found in St Albans?
Organ.
Gotta be. A very warm and comforting and tuneful organ.
A very warm welcome to the International Organ Festival. The St Albans International Organ Festival is a major undertaking. They've pulled out all the stops. Thank you for that. There we are.
It was a long day in the writer's room, wasn't it? By the time we got to this, that'll do.
Paul and Josh?
Organ, yeah. Quite up, organ.
Here.
Pull out the stop now. How do I get home from here?
Kylie Jenner lied about trying what with what for the first time.
Ant with deck.
I think it's milk with cereal.
Yes. About trying cereal with milk for the first time. Coincidentally, snap, crackle and pop are the noises the various Kardashians' implants make when they all sit down for breakfast. Next, the Walker pipe organ in Waterford is definitely what?
Erect.
The sweetest sounding.
Is it the kind of place 2 Russian spies would claim they were visiting?
Yeah.
It is definitely worth a second look. This is a sad story in The Organ, lamenting how people often overlook the Waterford Church fine organ in favour of the stained glass windows. Well. Here is the piece in its entirety. Yeah. Just one question. You've neglected the organ in your story about neglecting the organ. Do you think Stained Glass Window Weekly has pictures of organs? Tell you they don't. Next. What is encouraging antisocial behaviour in Wrexham?
Big organs.
Is it Wrexham?
I read somewhere. Aren't trees blocking out CCTVs? But that doesn't fit.
I'm going to give you that, yes.
I know.
Leaves on trees encouraging antisocial behaviour in Wrexham. And when the leaves fall off the trees, there'll be a new problem with criminals due to the increase in rustling. Next, women in restaurant left underwhelmed by what?
Men in restaurant.
I thought this was all related to pipes and the organ. So
No, not all.
Some of them are
Some of them.
organs.
Oh, 'cause I would have said organ.
Women in restaurant left underwhelmed by
organ.
Vegan pizza.
Oh,
There we are. Here it is.
that's disappointing.
That is disappointing.
And it really shouldn't be difficult to make a vegan pizza. I mean, after all, it's not rocket salad. Next, Alan Titchmarsh what on London Bridge as part of century-old tradition?
Defecates.
Herds sheep across.
Is exactly
Herds sheep across.
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. Alan Titchmarsh was
Yep.
joined by more than 600 freemen of the City of London. According to BBC News, freemen are historically allowed to bring livestock and tools into the city. People can become a freeman as a reward for public service, a bit like the honours system then, or by paying a fee. Very like the honours system. Next, Napoleon and the Pope credited with the revival of what in France?
Wearing funny hats.
Breakfast TV.
Yeah, breakfast TV.
No, organ culture.
Yes. How did we not?
The classical organ revival came to a halt with Waterloo when Benny and Bjorn opted for a more synthy sound. And finally, Police brand what? Absolute madness.
Their favourite album.
I know this one. It's trying to catch criminals.
Police brand man driving car filled with tree branches. Absolute madness. This is a man in Stockport who was stopped by police driving this. The driver had been clearing out garden rubbish and asked for several other fences to be taken into consideration. So the final scores are absolutely tied. Paul and Josh, Ian and Naga all on 7. But before we go, there is just time for the caption competition.
Is he going, and you're sure that's Tony Blair that's tied to the rails in front of you?
Next.
There's always a thick person in every class.
And I leave you with news that in London, news spreads of how much Boris Johnson stands to lose in his divorce settlement. In Washington, Melania Trump is reassured that the Perspex screen she installed is well worth the money. And in Munich, as a VIP visits a kindergarten, it looks like little Gunther, the teddy monitor, may have some explaining to do. Good night.